We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Midwest to Gotham. As always, I'm your host Matthew, and let's go ahead and just get into it. I'm doing a follow-up video for a video I did under my segment called Matthew's Minutes, where I talked about the Never Again movement and how I was going to have some problems. I knew I was going to come back to this topic. I told myself I was going to give about a month just to really give some time to flush itself out and see exactly what was going to happen. As you can tell, if you saw the other video, it hasn't even been a month, and I've already been proven right. In that other video, I theorized that if this movement cannot break through the titanium wall of apathy that has developed in this country over this issue, that nothing was ever going to get done. We were going to stay. Everything was going to stay the same. Nothing was going to get done. Mothers are going to cry. Fathers are going to cry. The politicians who are in bed with the NRA are just going to keep getting richer. We're going to move on to the next scandal and nothing's going to happen. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. I would even argue that it's gotten worse, so that the people who support no change and strengthening the NRA have actually shifted focus and escalated to not blaming the shooter, but blaming the people in the school and the kids and the people who stand up against gun control. So I got a lot of footage I'm going to show of different stuff that I think will help prove the argument, because this is something that needs to be seen. First thing we're going to do is that let's go ahead and go to handy dandy Twitter. As you look at my feed, you can tell that obviously because I am a progressive, that I have a lot of left-leaning stuff on my page because it's my page. Oh, that was nice, voting. So what do we got? No gun control, no gun control. Absolutely zero gun control. And you got to remember, the people on my page are all leftists, because I don't subscribe to any right-wing sites. So these are people who support gun control more than anybody else. And where you at? Nothing. So even on, which I believe the side of the argument that is on the side of the angels on this argument, even we're not talking about it anymore. It just shows you exactly what's going on, that the fire for this has already started to burn out. There's been another scandal that I'm sure has already taken its place, and we're done. So there that is. If you go, when I was looking up information, anytime I see an article that relates to something I'm talking about, I save it real quick and check it out. Let me tell you how this is going, how this is breaking down. Not only has the argument kind of petered out as far as gun control, people are now starting to blame the actual kids involved. There's an article I read and a video from Fox News. It says, Fox News, school shooting survivor. CNN told me to stick to the script. Another one from NBC. Conspiracy theory claims Parkland survivor, a crisis actor. So now they're blaming this young man, David Hogg, as being a crisis actor, that he wasn't really there. He's not really traumatized. The issues involved in this were not that big a deal. And so that's always the first step. Attack the victim. That's how you draw energy out of a movement. This is classic. It happens on the first thing you do when you want to kill a movement is to throw dirt on the people involved. Once you can make them less holy, then it's really easy to pick apart their actual narrative. Prong one, the first leg is already on the ground. This is like 2 weeks in after the shooting, they've already shifted the narrative. So what else we got? Okay. Here's another one from Fox. A Georgia official threatens Delta after its decision to cut ties with the NRA. I want you to take a minute and let that soak in.
Casey Cagle firing back at Delta Airlines, threatening to kill its $50 million tax break after that airline cut its ties with the NRA. Cagle slamming the airline's actions, tweeting, "I will kill any tax legislation that benefits Delta unless the company changes its position and fully reinstates its relationship with the NRA. Corporations cannot attack conservatives and expect us not to fight back." Well, of course, Delta's headquarters resides in Atlanta, Georgia, and that makes this whole thing a lot more intense. With me now, Ned Ryan, American Majority CEO and contributor to The Hill, Sarah Westwood, Washington White House correspondent, and Ashley Pratt, U.S. News and World Report contributor. Sarah, let me start with you. This is huge, obviously, around the country. How's it resonating in D.C. right now?
Well, I think that there's a lot of outrage, obviously, especially on the left, at the fact that you have a government threatening retaliation against a corporation for taking a political stance that they don't agree with. And I think from a conservative perspective, you do have a lot of skepticism of setting this precedent where you have a corporation exercising its free speech rights, whether you agree with its decision to sever ties with the NRA or not. And then you have a government official threatening a punishment in response to that. So obviously, Georgians and people around the country are free to exercise their own free speech rights and boycott Delta, but I don't think anyone wants to see the precedent set of the government getting involved in this kind of political dispute.
A Georgia official, a politician, is threatening a business, an independent business, for that business's decision to not deal with the NRA. That's unprecedented. How can you, as a political official, affect what a private business does? Delta can do whatever the hell they want to. So you're going to threaten, you're going to use your political capital to threaten a private industry based off what they choose to do with another private industry. I thought we were all about smaller government. You're using your political capital to threaten a private business over its choices. That is... Think about that, people. Have you ever heard of anything like that ever? I don't even think this is borderline illegal. It's disgusting. And it's happening right in front of your face or under your nose. So just see where this is happening. Here's the third thing, which got me. Here's an article from the New York Times. Trump stuns lawmakers with seeming embrace of comprehensive gun control. That was on March the 1st. Now, I'm not a Trump basher. I don't support anything he says, but I think hating on people wastes your energy and it's not effective towards the actual argument. It's a waste of my time to bash Trump, but I don't agree with him. But I do find it always makes me take a step back when I find out that he actually did something decent. So I read this article. In this article, the president actually agrees with the Democrats on gun control. The article says he called for comprehensive gun control legislation that would expand background checks to weapons purchased at gun shows and on the internet. To keep guns from mentally ill people, secure schools, and restrict gun sales for young adults. He even suggested a conversation on the assault weapons ban. So, no throwing shade there. I got to give it to Trump. Hey, great. Every now and then, people do the right thing. So what happened with that? Absolutely nothing. Even when the president, for one time in his life, wants to do the right thing, the rest of the GOP won't let him. Everything about Trump's presidency is that they are fully behind Trump. Kiss the ring. We're gonna fall in. Do whatever you say. You want to build a wall? Fine. You want to terrorize minorities by breaking up families and send them back across the border? Fine. You want to think white nationalists are some of them are good people? Okay, fine. You want to rape the American culture with this absolutely disgusting tax bill? which is making billionaires even more billions and taking the couple dollars that you and I have away from us. That's cool. You want to put a background check on guns for the NRA? Whoa, 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 whoa. Calm it down, big man. Now you're doing too much. That's the breaking point. So in a very rare turn, the rest of the GOP has turned on Trump. Here's a quote in the same article from Senator Ben Sasse, Republican of Nebraska. We are not ditching any constitutional protections simply because the last person the president talked to doesn't like them. Here's another quote. While today's meeting made for great TV, the gun control policies discussed would make for bad policy that wouldn't keep our children safer. This is Jennifer Baker, a spokeswoman for the NRA. We are going to continue to work to pass policies that will actually prevent another horrific tragedy. Number one, that's stunning. The Republicans have power because they vote as a bloc. No matter how disgusting you are, no matter what you do, they do not turn on the president. You have gone 1 mile too far when you start dissing the NRA. They will vocally turn their back on the president. The NRA is more powerful than the president. Period. And so you think a bunch of kids are going to march up there and change the world. They're not. And I knew they weren't, and it's sad. I wish it went we could go another way, but that, my show is not about wishing. It's about telling people who don't have time to follow up these things on what's going on. But I did say, as I said in all my other videos, there's a way out. What's the way out? You vote against these people. Vote them out of office. Get rid of them. Vote in people who support your values. That's it. That's how you do it. I saw another video talking about these are the 13 members of the GOP who will filibuster any plan to change gun control. I don't care what it is. They will block any measure without even reading it to stop gun control. So if you care about this issue, if you really give a damn about guns and gun control, and you live in these people's districts, follow these people. These are the people you need to be voting out. The only way you're going to change, if you want it to really happen, never again, these people you need to vote out. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can show you who to vote against. So people, if you really care, if you really want to change, if you want it to really never again, because unfortunately I was right, that's what you do. Vote against these frauds and money whores and people who don't care about you or your kids. Okay, I can't tell you what to do, but the evidence is clear. I got one more and I'm out of here. Marco Rubio has his own plan on what he wants to do in order to make the country safer. Found a CNN video called Marco Rubio Unveils His Gun Safety Plan. It's about 8 minutes, but it really just breaks down 3 points on what he wants to do. So let's go ahead and check it out.
So today I wanted to come here for a few minutes and announce a comprehensive plan, not a simple bill you just vote on and move on, but a series of measures that I believe could prevent these attacks before they happen. I'll be joining later today with Senator Orrin Hatch and others in introducing the Stop School Violence Act. If passed, this law would provide federal grants to do some important things that would have really been helpful in this case. Strengthen school security, infrastructure of the school. Provide school training for everyone, administrators, teachers, even students, to be able to identify threats and to report them. Something that really would be helpful is the creation of a school threat assessment and crisis intervention teams. There's a successful program in Los Angeles that does this. And that is a team that's a coordination between law enforcement, other state agencies, school districts, and the like, where they're all talking to each other about students and former students that may pose a threat of violence and intervene before they act. A second issue we identified is that even if law enforcement, school administrators, or family members believe that an individual poses the risk of committing an act of violence, they have very few options to prevent them from purchasing any gun or taking the guns away that they already have. Therefore, I intend to present a new law, perhaps in coordination with others that are working on it now, that will lead to the creation of gun violence restraining orders, something that will give law enforcement and close family members the option of obtaining a court order to prevent gun sales or remove guns from individuals who pose a threat. And to be clear, the due process in such a situation would be on the front end, not on the back end. The third issue we uncovered is that federal law appears to discourage school systems from reporting dangerous students to law enforcement. I don't support criminalizing all school conduct or school misconduct, but a student who has threatened violence, who has exhibited violent behavior, needs to be reported to law enforcement. A student that's committed a crime by issuing a threat of death using social media, that is a crime under Florida law. That needs to be reported. But under Broward County school policies, pursuant to something called the Promise Program, reporting a student, a dangerous one, to law enforcement is the sixth step, step 6 in their plan. Therefore, I intend to propose changes to the Federal Youth Promise Program so that a school district plan under this program does not delay and does not discourage law enforcement from being alerted to dangerous and violent or hazardous behavior. Fourth, we need to strengthen background checks. And that's why I've joined with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, pushing for the immediate passage of Fix NICS, something that will require all federal agencies and incentivize every state to fully report relevant information to the National Background Check Database. Because a background check is only as good as the information that is on it. And this deranged killer was able to buy guns on 10 separate occasions because he would have passed any background check, because none of the stuff that was known about him was reported to that system. Fifth, we must begin to prosecute the purchase of guns by people prohibited from doing so. Next week, I hope to be joining a bipartisan group led by Senators Toomey and Coons in filing the Lie and Try bill, which will require the FBI to notify states when someone who's not allowed to buy a gun tries to buy a gun and fails the background check, so they can be investigated, so they can be prosecuted. In addition, we will be presenting a new law to provide more prosecutors to go after straw purchases, which is where someone goes and buys a gun on behalf of someone else, because that someone else could not pass the background check. Now, there are some additional reforms that I'm open to. The possibility of looking at the age limits on semi-automatic rifles, the notion of looking at what could be done with high-capacity magazines. We'll continue to explore and look at those. These reforms do not enjoy the sort of widespread support in Congress that the other measures I've announced do. And in order to successfully pass, these ideas will have to be crafted in a way that actually contribute to greater public safety, but also do not unnecessarily or unfairly infringe on the Second Amendment right of all law-abiding adults to protect them.
So, what's missing from this video? He wants to harden schools, whatever that means. He wants to increase restraining orders against people who've been known to actually commit gun violence and report it. And he wants to do some crap on it and marginally increasing background checks. So what's not on this list? Taking guns off the freaking streets. That's what people really wanted. You're doing everything but that. He is so committed. He's so in bed with the NRA. You're going to do the soft shoe against this massive elephant in the room, do everything except for get guns off the street. Not assault weapons, not weapons of any kind. This is 100% blame the victim. The actual laws are weak, firmer background checks. People who are going to kill people don't always have a freaking criminal history. Something can happen in your life that keeps you away from law enforcement, where you can do what you want to do. Everyone is a regular person until they're not. Everyone snaps that first time. You're not in the system until you're in the system. This event could be the action that puts you in the system, and now you've killed 20 people. So as opposed to getting these violent weapons away from these people, he wants background checks. But give them all the guns they want, just, so we can keep file of them. So after they kill 150 people, then, we know exactly who they are, and we know how to report it. So Matt can come back on TV and make another freaking video and people are dead, So I just want to show you, like, normally I'm behind the camera. You know, I like my face. It's whatever. But I want to go a different way, because I figured this way it's easier just to show you what I'm saying, because some things is opinion. Some things people need to see the facts. So I want to do it this way. Just switch it up a little bit and to show you why I feel that I was correct on that argument. Unfortunately, because as I said, nothing in my life would have been better than to prove me wrong. All right. This is Matthew. I'm from Midwest to Gotham. I'm out of here. Love y'all. Peace.